There are days when you feel like you're trapped in a whirlwind with no way out. Worries, fears, and negative thoughts keep looping, pulling you into a state of stagnation that nothing seems able to break. You want to regain control of your mind to find calm again, but the harder you try, the more exhausted you become. If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. And more importantly, you don't have to stay in that state. Stoicism offers a different path to inner freedom. It doesn't ask you to change the world or control everything that happens around you. Instead, it teaches you how to change your mindset. Life is full of adversity, loss, failure, and pressure. But what makes us suffer is not these events themselves, but how we respond to them. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting what is beyond your control. Resetting your mindset doesn't mean forgetting everything. It means choosing a new, wiser approach. And when you achieve even one of these three things, you reclaim control over your life. In this video, we'll explore three core principles of Stoicism that will help you live with more calm, strength, and freedom. If you're ready to take this journey, let's begin. 1. Let go. Let go of things beyond your control. Have you ever felt like you were trying to control something only to have it slip further from your grasp, the tighter you held on? There are times when we become obsessed with what others think, past failures or things beyond our control. But if you stop and ask yourself, do I really have control over this? That's the moment you begin to embrace the spirit of Stoicism. In Stoic philosophy, letting go does not mean indifference or surrendering to fate. It is a conscious act, a powerful choice. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When we let go of what we cannot control, we do not lose power. Rather, we reclaim the greatest control of all control over ourselves. It's like being in the middle of a storm. You cannot stop the wind from blowing or command the waves to be still, but you can learn to adjust your sails and accept the storm as part of the journey. The things we cling to most tend to be the things we cannot control. Why? Because humans crave certainty, wanting everything to go their way. But the more we try to control what is beyond our reach, the more we stress, worry, and trap ourselves in chains of negative thinking. Imagine someone who spends their entire life trying to please others. As a child, he strives for high grades not just to learn, but to earn praise from his parents. As an adult, he constantly fears being judged by colleagues, adjusting his speech and lifestyle to meet everyone's expectations. But every time he thinks he's done the right thing, someone is still dissatisfied. Over time, he realizes that no matter how hard he tries, other people's thoughts remain beyond his control. Trying to manage others' emotions and opinions is like trying to catch the wind in your hands, a futile and exhausting pursuit. Similarly, think about an athlete who gets injured right before the most important game of their life. Anger surges and regret weighs heavily. But does anger help them recover faster? Does blaming fate make the pain disappear? Instead of sinking into sorrow, they choose to focus on what they can control persistently, recovering, strengthening their willpower, and preparing to come back stronger. That is the true power of someone who takes charge of their own life. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. This is how we regain true control, by mastering ourselves rather than the external world. Imagine a tense meeting. A colleague is trying to provoke you, attempting to drag you into a pointless argument. They are waiting for your reaction, hoping you lose your temper, hoping you fall into their emotional trap. But you just sit there, looking straight ahead, remaining silent. That silence is not weakness. It is a quiet yet powerful statement of self-respect. It unsettles the other person because they realize they cannot reach you. They lose the power they thought they had. This does not mean you do not care. It means you choose not to get caught up in things that are not worth your energy. This is true control, not controlling others, but controlling how you respond to them. So how do we practice letting go? In the Stoic way, first identify what is beyond your control. Suppose you are stuck in a traffic jam for hours. You can get angry, honk your horn, and curse your bad luck. But does that change anything? Or you can use that time to listen to an insightful podcast, read a book, or simply accept reality and keep your mind at peace. When you recognize what is beyond your control, you stop wasting energy on unnecessary frustration. Second change, how you perceive failure. A young entrepreneur starts a business and fails after 2 years. If they only focus on the loss, they will collapse. But if they see it as a lesson, they will learn from the experience, adjust their strategy, and keep going. As the Bible teaches, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Sometimes failure is not the end. It is a stepping stone for greater progress. Third, accept reality instead of fighting it. How we perceive an event matters more than the event itself. Someone who loses their job has 2 choices: sink into self-pity and blame, or see it as an opportunity to find something better. Many people only discover their true passion after being laid off, leading them to start their own business or transition into a more fulfilling career. What matters is not the circumstance, but how we respond to it. Fourth, learn to keep a calm mind amidst the storm. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." We often torment ourselves with unnecessary worries, imagining worst-case scenarios that never actually happen. A student might be terrified of failing an exam, but instead of stressing, they could use that time to study. When we learn to keep our minds still, we stop being swept away by the negative emotions we create ourselves. Mastering life is not about controlling every variable, but about controlling our response to them. When we let go of unrealistic expectations and stop seeking control where we have none, we begin to live more freely and lightly. You can't control the weather, but you can carry an umbrella. You can't control others, but you can control how you respond. You can't change the past, but you can change how you perceive it. And most importantly, you can't control the flow of life, but you can learn to navigate it wisely. So let go of what cannot be changed. Reset your mindset. Be ready for a new journey and reclaim your power, not by trying to control the world, but by mastering yourself. That is true strength. That is the essence of Stoicism. 2. Reset your thoughts and mind. There are moments in life when everything seems to be against us. An unexpected failure, an unforeseen event, a sudden disappointment. In those times, we often ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? But if we apply the mindset of Stoicism, the question we should be asking is not why, but how can I perceive this differently? Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This statement is not just a philosophy, but a guiding principle to maintaining resilience in all circumstances. The external world is full of uncertainties beyond our control, failures, losses, misunderstandings, and injustices. If we allow ourselves to be swept away by these events, we will forever live in anxiety and fear. But if we accept that true power lies within our minds, within how we interpret, think, and react, then we can find peace. Resetting in Stoic thinking is not about escaping or denying reality, but about actively reshaping our perspective. When we change the way we think, we no longer remain victims of circumstances, but become masters of ourselves. When hearing the word reset, one might think of wiping everything clean and starting over. However, in Stoicism, resetting is not about giving up or forgetting. It is a process of transforming how we perceive things, turning adversity into an opportunity for growth. When facing a negative situation, the natural human reaction is to see it as a disaster. However, in reality, an event itself is neither good nor bad. It is only our perception of it that determines our emotions. Epictetus said, Men are disturbed not by things but by the view they take of them. An event may be unchangeable, but our perception of it can be transformed. This is the power of reframing. Thomas Edison is a vivid example of this. In 1914, his laboratory burned to the ground, destroying all his research and assets. Every design, every experiment, every unfinished invention was lost overnight. For most people, this would have been an irreparable tragedy, but Edison did not allow himself to sink into despair. When his son Charles ran to him with a panicked expression, Edison did not lament. Instead, he calmly said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." This was not just a comforting phrase, but a powerful statement. Within 3 weeks, he had begun rebuilding, not complaining about what was lost, but focusing on the future. Edison's Stoic mindset serves as the clearest proof. Instead of clinging to what cannot be changed, he directed his will, thoughts, and actions toward what remained within his control. When faced with a negative situation, ask yourself, is this really as bad as I think? Is there a way to view this in a more positive or neutral light? If a wise person were in my position, how would they perceive this? These questions will help you break free from the cycle of negativity and gain a clearer perspective. When something happens, our emotions react instantly. Anger, anxiety, and fear arise immediately. But Stoicism teaches that instead of reacting instinctively, we can learn to separate emotions from the situation. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, if it is beyond your control, why worry? If it is within your control, take action instead of worrying. Imagine a situation: you are rushing to the airport, double-checking your flight ticket, making sure you will arrive on time. Your heart beats faster as you enter the check-in area, reassuring yourself that everything is still under control. But then at the check-in counter, the staff looks at the screen and gently says, "Your flight has already departed." For a moment, it feels as if your whole world is collapsing. Disappointment, frustration, and anger surge within you. You might blame the airline for being inflexible, resent the taxi driver for driving too slowly, or scold yourself for not leaving home earlier. But then a thought flashes in your mind: no matter how I react, that flight is not coming back. You pause, take a deep breath. You realize that there is one thing you can control: your reaction. Instead of letting anger take over you, choose a different approach, making the most of this time in a productive way. You find a quiet corner in the airport. Open the book you've been meaning to read for ages, or sit down and write out your thoughts and upcoming plans. Maybe you make an important phone call, create a to-do list, or simply relax and observe the world around you without pressure. The moment that seemed like a failure is now an opportunity to practice calmness. You cannot change the past, but you can control the present, and that is all you need to stay grounded amidst the chaos of life. One of the most effective ways to practice Stoicism is by keeping a Stoic journal. Every day, life presents challenges, some big, some small. It could be a misunderstanding with a colleague, a plan that didn't go as expected, or an unforeseen situation that makes you feel out of control. In such moments, we often get caught up in negative emotions, without realizing that the way we perceive an event is more important than the event itself. Take time each day to write down the difficulties you have faced, not to complain, but to analyze them objectively. What happened? How did you react? And most importantly, could you see it differently, in a more constructive way? Ask yourself important questions. What can I learn from this? If Epictetus or Marcus Aurelius were in my position, what would they think? These questions not only help you cultivate a Stoic mindset, but also allow you to gradually gain control over your emotions, thoughts, and reactions over time. There is an interesting way to practice Stoicism. Imagine yourself as a great Stoic philosopher. When faced with a challenge, don't react immediately. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, if Marcus Aurelius or Seneca were in my position, what would they do? How would they respond? By putting yourself in the mindset of someone wiser, you will realize that most of the things that upset or worry you are not worth wasting your energy on. You will learn to see problems with greater calmness, clarity, and rationality. Reset does not mean avoiding or ignoring the problem. It means changing the way you perceive it. When you control your mindset, you control how you respond to the world. Instead of letting circumstances dictate your mood, decide for yourself how you will perceive them. Next time you face a difficulty, don't react out of habit. Ask yourself, am I seeing this in an unnecessarily negative way? Is there a better way to interpret it? What can I learn from this? You cannot control the world, but you can control how you perceive it. And that control is what gives you true freedom. 3. Take back control of your life. Have you ever felt like you're being swept along by the flow of life, unable to control it? You wake up every morning with a long list of responsibilities, pressures, and expectations from others. Work demands more, relationships pull you into meaningless conflicts, and the fear of failure makes you hesitate before important decisions. Amid all this chaos, are you truly in control of your life, or are you merely reacting to whatever comes your way? Stoicism presents an undeniable truth. You cannot control the world, but you can control yourself. If you don't actively take back control, someone or something else will control you. Emotions, circumstances, and people around you can all manipulate your life if you let them. But if you learn to let go of what's unnecessary and reframe your mindset, you will gain the power to master your thoughts, actions, and life. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. This quote from Marcus Aurelius embodies one of the core principles of Stoicism. True strength doesn't come from trying to control things beyond your reach, but from mastering how you think and respond. When you spend too much energy worrying about what you can't change, other people's attitudes, unexpected events, or life's injustices, you put yourself in a position of weakness and helplessness. On the other hand, when you focus on what is within your control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions, you will find resilience and strength. Stoicism teaches us that whatever happens is merely an external event. How we interpret those events determines our emotions. If someone insults you, it only affects you if you allow it to enter your mind. If you miss an opportunity, instead of drowning in regret, you can see it as a lesson to move forward. Inner peace and strength are not gifts, but choices you can make right now. Imagine a boat drifting aimlessly in the ocean without a compass or a rudder, carried by the current. A strong wind can push it far from shore, a tide can drag it into dangerous waters, and a storm can sink it in an instant. Your life is the same. If you don't take control of your own ship, you will soon realize that you no longer have control over where you are going. External pressures, other people's opinions, societal expectations, and invisible fears can all lead you away from the path you truly want. Procrastination slows you down. Momentary temptations pull you away from long-term goals, and the fear of failure can stop you from moving forward. Do you really want to let your life slip away like this? You can let the storms carry you adrift, or you can grip the wheel tightly. Look ahead and choose your own path. No one can steer your life for you. Only you can take back control and navigate toward the destination you desire. Many people mistakenly believe that control means forcing everything to go their way. But Stoicism doesn't teach us to control circumstances. It teaches us to control how we respond to them. When you're no longer overwhelmed by emotions or affected by others' negativity, you become lighter, clearer, and most importantly, stronger. If you continue to drift passively through life, you will soon realize that you are not truly living. You are merely existing. But if you decide to take control, you will live with intention, purpose, and a sense of power over life's unexpected challenges. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or surrendering to circumstances. It's about active acceptance. You can't control how others perceive or treat you, but you can absolutely control how you react to them. When someone hurts you or when an opportunity slips away, you have two choices. Dwell on regret and resentment or accept that the past cannot be changed. Learn from it and move forward. When you learn to let go of what is beyond your control, you are no longer weighed down by negative emotions. At that point, you can direct all your energy toward what truly matters, which is the real power of letting go. Resetting is a shift in mindset, allowing you to shed old burdens and embrace a fresh perspective. Take a moment to reflect. Are you stuck in a cycle of negative thoughts? Are you wasting time on things with no lasting value? If the answer is yes, it's time to hit the reset button. Eliminate the thoughts, habits, and influences that are holding you back. Don't let the past or fear dictate your future. A reset mind is one that is open and ready for better things ahead. And finally, taking back control is not just a thought, it's an action. After letting go of what's unnecessary and resetting your mindset, the most important thing is to stand up and take charge of change. No more excuses, no more procrastination, no more waiting for a miracle. Want a better job? Start learning. Want better health? Train every day. Want to master your emotions? Practice controlling your thoughts. No one can do it for you. Take action right now. Look at one of the most practical lessons from Stoicism, the story of Marcus Aurelius. As the emperor of the Roman Empire, he not only faced external wars, but also intense psychological battles. Throughout his reign, he was constantly criticized by discontented courtiers, ambitious generals, and even the Roman people who were unhappy with his decisions. On top of that, he had to deal with betrayals from those he once trusted, people who were willing to turn their backs on him for personal gain. An ordinary person might have easily become angry, sought revenge, or drowned in disappointment. But Marcus did not. He understood that while he couldn't control what others thought or said about him, he could control how he reacted. In Meditations, he wrote that human nature is inherently selfish and judgmental, but that should not disturb his peace of mind. He reminded himself that his duty was not to please everyone, but to fulfill his mission with integrity and resilience. So what can we learn from Marcus? When someone criticizes you, when someone deliberately hurts you, remember that you always have a choice. You can react impulsively by getting angry, blaming others, or seeking revenge, or you can control your emotions. Maintain your composure and focus on what truly matters. In those moments, you are not only protecting your inner peace, but also demonstrating your true strength. This is the essence of Stoicism, mastering yourself no matter the circumstances. There will be times when life doesn't go as planned. You feel stuck, your career isn't progressing, or a project falls apart. A person without self-control will complain, blame circumstances, and wait for things to change. But what would a Stoic do? They let go of the past, accepting that what has happened cannot be undone. They reset their mindset and redefine their goals. And most importantly, they take action. Every day, they take small steps toward their objectives. They don't look for excuses to delay. They only look for ways to move forward. If you want to take back control, start with the smallest things in your life. You don't need grand changes or dramatic decisions. It all begins with small actions, ones that have a bigger impact than you might think. Your own actions are the deciding factor. You can spend hours thinking about a better future, but without action, that future will remain nothing more than an empty dream. Even a small step is more valuable than 1,000 ideas that never come to life. Instead of just wishing for a better job, start improving your skills today. Instead of complaining about an unfulfilling life, find one small thing you can change right now. How you use your time is just as important. Everyone has 24 hours in a day, but how you allocate that time determines who you become. If you spend it on meaningless habits, you are limiting yourself. But if you invest your time in self-improvement, learning, and discipline, you are laying a strong foundation for a more meaningful life. Your mindset is something no one can control except you. Negative thoughts, fears, and self-doubt only have power if you let them dominate you. But if you learn to observe your thoughts, shift your perspective, and stay true to your values, you will no longer be swayed by fleeting emotions or the judgments of others. You have two choices. Continue letting circumstances dictate your fate, or stand up and take control of your own life. Stoicism teaches that you don't need to control everything around you, only yourself. When you take charge of your thoughts, actions, and time, you stop being a victim of life. You become its master. 4. The special relationship between let go, reset, and take back control. There are moments in life when we realize we are trapped in a loop of negative thoughts, old wounds, or past failures that leave us paralyzed. At such times, the important question is not why things happen the way they did, but rather, how can we break free from this stagnation? The answer lies in 3 steps. Let go, reset, and take back control. This is not just a strategy for overcoming adversity, but also a way to live strong and resilient, true to the spirit of Stoicism. Letting go is not an act of weakness, but the highest expression of freedom. How many times have we clung to old wounds as if they defined us? How many times have we held on to things beyond our control only to be tormented by inner turmoil? Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." We often forget that suffering does not come from events themselves, but from how we react to them. When a door closes, our pain does not stem from the door itself shutting, but from our refusal to move on. We are haunted by what could have been different words that should not have been spoken, decisions that could have been better. But could have does not change reality. The only thing that can help us move forward is the courage to let go. However, letting go is not simply about dismissing everything from our minds. It is a deliberate action, a choice to no longer be bound by things outside our control. When we truly let go, we do not escape reality. We accept it with calmness. That is why the next step, reset, becomes essential. Imagine the mind as a glass of water clouded with worries, regrets, and pain. To refresh it, we cannot just pour in clean water. We must change it entirely from the root. Reset is the moment we pause, reshape our mindset, and start anew. This is not about forgetting, but about reassessing everything through the eyes of someone who has learned their lesson. In life, there are moments when we need to hit the restart button on ourselves. That is when we must learn to see things from a different perspective, focusing on what truly matters instead of drowning in regret. Truly strong people are not those who never fail, but those who know how to pause, reevaluate, and begin again with a renewed mindset. Once we have let go and reset, the most crucial step is to take back control. This is the most transformative shift, where we no longer see ourselves as victims of circumstances, but as masters of our own lives. We realize that peace does not come from everything going smoothly, but from our ability to control our reactions. Taking back control does not mean forcing everything to go our way. It means learning how to navigate our emotions and thoughts, so we are not swayed by external forces. It is like standing in the middle of a storm, yet remaining steady. We cannot control the wind, but we can adjust our sails. The Stoics believed that true freedom does not come from changing the outside world, but from changing how we face it. A person who has regained control is someone who walks into a room with composure. They don't need to prove themselves, seek attention, or be swayed by provocation or judgmental glances. They understand that true power does not come from having the loudest voice in the room, but from a deep sense of inner calm. This is why silence is sometimes the most powerful response. It is not avoidance. It is the ultimate display of self-mastery. Think back to a recent argument you were involved in. Have you ever felt yourself getting pulled into a pointless confrontation where every word only made things worse? That is the moment we lose control. Those who truly understand their worth do not need to argue over everything. They know when to speak and when to remain silent. All of this letting go, resetting, and reclaiming control is not a one-time process. It is a cycle we will repeat many times in life. Each challenge we face is another opportunity to apply these lessons. And with each repetition, we become stronger, calmer, and more resilient. So what is holding you back? What is weighing on your mind? Can you let it go? Can you allow yourself to reset your mindset and see things from a different perspective? And most importantly, are you ready to take back control of your life? The answer is always in your hands, and when you realize that you will have found your true strength. So we've explored the key principles of Stoicism, letting go of what's beyond your control, resetting your mindset with positive thinking, and reclaiming control through deliberate action. This isn't just a philosophy, it's a way of life that helps you stay calm, confident, and resilient in the face of any challenge. Remember, you can't change the world, but you can change how you respond to it. Hardships, pressure, and negative emotions lose their power if you choose not to let them control you. When you learn to let go of what you can't control, you free yourself from stress. When you reset your mind with positive thinking, you build lasting inner strength. And when you take deliberate action to regain control, you reclaim your life on your terms. Now, I want to hear from you. In your opinion, what is the most important aspect of Stoicism? A knowing how to let go of what's beyond your control. B, training your mind to stay positive in adversity. C, taking intentional action to regain control. Or D, all of the above are equally important. Comment below and let's discuss. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future content. And be sure to check out the other videos on your screen to continue your Stoicism journey with us. See you in the next video.